everybody, and welcome to another episode of Without Having Kicked a Ball. I am your host, Sam Taylor, and this week we are going back to our usual format. Yes, after the FA Cup special, it is now time to go back to Premier League, Championship, League One, and League Two, with, of course, our in-depth analysis of three Premier League games that we've highlighted from the weekend just gone. And, of course, the major talking points from them, and, of course, the wider implications of all the football results and talking points right here on Without Having Kicked the Ball. And joining me today, Neil said tonight, joining me today is the man whose channel this is on, TubeMix, also known as Will. Hello, my friend.
Hello, Somali, everybody. Hope you're all well, and another episode. So let's get on with the show.
Yeah. Are you doing well, buddy? All good?
Yes, I'm doing very well, thank you, Sam. And
Yeah.
looking forward to getting stuck into another episode.
So January might be nearing its end, but we have a few shows to go off. Not least in a couple of weeks or just over a week, we will be doing a transfer special. So that is something to look forward to.
Yep,
But
Journey to the Transfer Centre of the Earth. That's what it's going to be called.
yeah, that'll be. We'll be doing that on Monday, the 2nd of February. Anyway,
it's going to be good. Looking forward to that.
So, back to today though, and we've got a feast of football coming up for you. Not a perfect place to start, not to mention the Manchester derby, where a wounded, defeated Manchester United took on Manchester City in what seemed only inevitable to be a Sky Blues win at the Theatre of Nightmares. But in football, we know anything is possible. And interim manager Michael Carrick, in his first game back as interim since he took charge a few years ago for a couple of games, did the impossible. As the Red Devils clearly weren't feeling very well, and beat Pep Guardiola's Manchester City 2-0 with goals from Brian Mbeumo and Patrick Dorgu to put the noisy neighbours in their place and give United some respect back to the otherwise divided name. Anyway, so Manchester may have been divided, but for Manchester, it definitely was United.
Oh, yes, I like that.
Anyway, a great result for Manchester United to lift spirits. Of course, there are problems, big problems. We've spoke about those on this show many times, so I won't go into them.
Groundhog Day if we talk about them again.
But Derby delight for the boys in red, and City put to the sword, and a great win for United, and a great start for Carrick in interim charge, who seems to have got the DNA of United, of course, in his heart during his playing days under Sir Alex Ferguson. So up the Carrick, and long may it continue. Your thoughts on the game, Will? And what was a very good display, actually, full of energy, I thought, from Manu.
Yeah, it was, and I think, that, it's weird because obviously, after Amorim sacks, Darren Fletcher nearly said, nearly said Duncan Ferguson then, but no, Darren Fletcher. and you thought there might be sort of a new manager bounce or an interim manager bounce, but there wasn't. But this game with Carrick, there was, and it's funny. I wasn't sure what way the game was going to go. United do generally seem to have a habit of turning up for the big games occasionally. So I wondered, and of course City are in not so good form. So I thought, well, this will probably be a draw, I imagine. But no, I mean it's absolutely amazing, and also noteworthy that Kobe Mainu is back in the fold now after not starting a single game under Amarim this season. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting to see Kobe back in midfield. I mean, there's something Fletcher Carrick did. From the beginning. I think Fletcher did the same actually as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So that just shows how highly Kobe Mini was rated. Of course, his form he has struggled for form, but I don't think the system or the manager's belief in him has been particularly high in Ruben Amorim. And I think also for Kobe, United have said he will not go on loan, whether he would have done if Ruben Amorim was still in charge. Who knows? He will not go on loan, and they're in discussions over a new deal.
Yeah, no, I was just saying it's interesting because if Amorim had stayed in charge and clearly Mainu he would have continued not to pick Mainu, then it'd be interesting. I mean, obviously, because the club would have to think, well, he's not playing, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kobe is very, very highly thought of, but of course, you have to go with what the manager says at the time. But hopefully, this will bring a new lease of life for Kobe, because we all know what Kobe can do in the 23-24 season. So what's that? 2 seasons ago, he was fantastic. Broke on
one of the new shining lights, wasn't he, of Eric Ten Hag's, really?
Yeah, burst onto the scene, as Michael Richards would say, was a star, and even started in the Euros final for England of 2024 in our loss against Spain. The less said about that, the better. But
by the way, I also want to say, Sam, that just yesterday it was announced that Casemiro would be leaving the club.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to finish my point on Kobe, they obviously weren't sure. Weren't sure if Casemiro, what was going to happen with Casemiro, and Kobe mainly with the future. Interesting that to bring to your point, Will, that Casemiro hasn't signed a new deal, because actually I would have thought the time for him to go was maybe the end of last season or the end of the season before, but he's actually been playing a lot better. So interesting that Casemiro.
I guess he's still had his contract though to run as well, so.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm surprised he didn't leave and the club didn't try and get a bit of money for him.
Yeah. Well, but
obviously they make a loss on what they paid for him, obviously, because he's older and But
exactly.
Actually, I would have been inclined. I think his performances this season have been okay, so I would have been maybe inclined to give him a 1-year deal. But maybe it just didn't work out. But I think for Kobe, he needs confidence. He needs a manager that will have faith in him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And of course, Brian and Mbeumo coming back from the African Cup of Nations, scoring a goal. Patrick Dorgu, who I think we all feel is not really a defender, but as a winger, he's been he's been really good in the last few
So
games.
yeah,
So
because I believe if I get this right, he is actually his main position is a winger, isn't he? He's not a defender, is he?
he was a wing back, but he can play wing, and I think people think he plays his best football as a winger.
Oh, okay, yeah, and but I guess he was signed up when he was signed as a defender, wasn't he? I
He
believe.
was signed as a left wing back,
Yeah,
and actually, if you look at his time, was it Udinese he played before? I think he
something like
he
that.
um,
Yeah.
he actually played his best football as a right winger, which makes no sense. But anyway, he lots of play. I mean, I thought lots of energy, but not much end product, not much talent. Can't defend. Didn't think he was that good in attack either. So I was like, yeah, he'll be on his way out. But last few games, he's really seems to have found his home. The only thing I do think about is we could still keep playing him as a left winger, and actually seems better as a right winger. But anyway, he looks better going forward all of a sudden. Maybe uh, Carrick's just said, let's take the handbrake off. You've been playing in this structure, this five at the back, and you've had all this, and you've been sort of
And it,
stuck.
it, it wasn't a success for them, was it? Their
No, and you've
system.
been stuck to these positions. So let's spin it round, take the handbrake off, push forward, attack. And if we lose, then we lose. But at least we're playing positive football. And
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah,
Carrick would have said to them, we are the underdogs. We've got nothing to lose here because everyone would be expecting,
of
probably
course,
City
yeah,
to
yeah. I
win.
mean, I think there's always pressure in a derby. I think in some ways form goes out the window a little bit,
Yeah.
um, because in fact for a it was quite easy for Carrick because he was lucky that his first game was the derby because players shouldn't need whatever form they've been in to need energy or enthusiasm to get up for a derby.
Oh, of
That
course. Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah. I
that
agree with you.
speaks for itself.
Yes.
But the thing is, with the next game and the next few games, can they repeat? Without the atmosphere being quite the same and the
Yeah,
energy
exactly. Well,
levels,
that's the big question. They've got Arsenal next coming up.
can they repeat? Well, in some ways, that's lucky again. In some ways, if you spin it, because again, United, Arsenal, players shouldn't need that much
Oh, of course, yeah, because obviously
encouragement.
it's another
So
historic. You think the Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira, that rivalry is a big and
yeah,
Wenger
the
and
tunnel, the
Ferguson.
Gary Neville incident in the tunnel.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a bit of
So yeah.
history there. Yeah.
So in some ways, it's been made easier for Carrick, and it's been made easier that I wouldn't say there's no pressure on United because actually the league, I think we've been as poor as we were last year. I just think that everybody's been beating everybody in the
Well,
league,
yeah,
so it's meant that
it's been
we're
a bit of a
you
weird
know
season, hasn't it?
one
Really.
win you're in like the top seven, and the next loss you're in like 14,
I mean,
15.
particularly, Sunderland probably, they've been like, you know, holding, you know, uh, Chelsea have struggled against them, City have struggled
Yeah.
against them as well. So yeah, that's a particular example.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think you look at Sunderland and United, different propositions, obviously, but United, Carrick seemed to bring a more attacking freedom style in his first game,
Yeah.
and Sunderland maybe played more defensive and then take the chances on the break or whatever. But they have teams that have a clear structure that the players can play seem to do well.
Well,
It, it,
exactly. I
it,
think yeah,
it,
that
if
makes sense.
if we try and put square pegs in round holes,
And players are not
unfortunately,
their natural positions. Yeah.
yeah, it's not. I mean, playing Bruno Fernandes as a deep lying midfielder, he's not really. he can do a job there, but he needs to be pushed up in more of a number 10 or just off the number 10 position.
Yeah.
So, it's probably not rocket science. There's some good players in there, not great players. There's no United player I look at in
Although
the squad.
Matthias Cunha, do you not think, Cunha, Mbuemo...
Good player, good players, good players. There's not one United player yet, other than maybe Bruno, that I would consider in the world class
Fair
category.
enough, yeah.
I think the others are very, very good. Well, not all of them, but Mbuemo, Cunha. But we'll see over time. The one consistent performer has been Bruno since he arrived.
Well,
So,
exactly. He lives and dies for them, doesn't he? Really.
and I think the term world class is overrated because a player can have a few good games and they go, "Oh, he's world class."
And then fade, yeah.
Yeah, but for us to be in a position where we're saying Manchester United have only got one world class player currently,
well, that tells you how far the standards have fallen, haven't they?
Because under Ferguson, you probably say they had 11 or 12 world class players, and then the people on the bench were very, very good players.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we've got very, very good players, a couple of them, 3 or 4, one world class player, and the rest are average or below average.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It's interesting because I'm not sure what United's strategy is. Really, I wasn't a fan of having an interim manager. I think because it was a bit strange to appoint an interim.
That did seem a little bit
An interim while you find an interim.
While you find an interim, it's like a parody, but it's not. Yeah.
Just give it to the interim guy, the original one. But now that Carrick's in, I mean, be interesting to see what happens, next manager as well. Could he be in the frame with that job, or will, if he does really well, or will the board say, well, we saw what happened with Ollie when he was given...
They'd be quite valid to think that, well, we
Yeah.
saw what happened with Ollie.
I think he can only make those decisions internally, and Carrick can only do his job.
Of course, Carrick will know that he's a smart guy, and
he's done a good job. Like, I know he's only managed Middlesbrough and they didn't get promoted, but he did a decent job there. So yeah, and he seems good with young players as well.
And his coaching staff he's hired, for this interim spell, Jonathan Woodgate and Steve Holland, very experienced coaches.
You might know this. Did Gareth Southgate go in the end or not? Is he on the coaching staff or not?
Coaching, Steve Holland, do you mean?
No, Gareth Southgate. Did he go on? There was rumours Gareth Southgate was going to go on the coaching staff.
Yeah, there was rumours that I don't think he has. No, just Jonathan Woodgate and Steve Holland in terms of the big names, if you like.
Yeah, because I wonder. I didn't see the game because I was out, but I had my own cup match to attend to. That we won 7-0, so that was quite happy.
Yeah, you really put them to the sword, yeah.
Yeah, that's 9-0 and 7-0 we won in the cup this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't say 2-0 is being put to the sword, by the way, but yeah.
No. 9-0 and 7-0.
That is definitely that's beyond putting to the sword.
But yeah, that's sticking the dagger in that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll be interesting to see. I do wonder, and we'll come on to them next. In fact, I'll leave it till next. But I wonder for City, they've been on an unbeaten run and played some good football in that run. But recent signs, the draw at Sunderland, I think they drew somewhere else. The defeat here at their neighbours. As happy as I am about it, we have to be try and be neutral on this show.
Yeah.
City.
Yeah, try doing that to Port Vale. That's your challenge, though.
No, well, they don't even. They should be in reverse, that club. Anyway, in fact, non-existent springs to mind. Anyway, but we'll get on to them very soon. But yeah, it's interesting for City. They've blown hot and cold this season in runs. For them, it's all about top four, or five.
Even they're facing a battle after their defeat by Bodo Glimt in the Champions League, which that was a really bad result for them.
Yeah. So top four, top five for City, depending on what they need to get in the Champions League, that'll come clear depending on how the club's doing in Europe.
Do you think they're going to win the title now, or do you think that ship has?
Oh no, title's gone.
Yeah.
Titles for me, titles gone unless they go on an extraordinary run, which we know City are capable of, but
I just think
but not now, not at the moment. So I think top four, same boat as Villa, really. I know they do it, but they were kind of at that. I think the title is
City slipped up, Villa slipped up, and Arsenal slipped up. What was interesting that pretty much lots of the top teams in the table, apart from Chelsea, if you like, all slipped up. I thought that was really interesting.
What was funny is, you're right, Villa slipped up, City slipped up, Arsenal slipped up, but actually went a point clear, another point clear, because they drew and the other two lost.
They drew with Nottingham Forest, yeah. Oh, sorry, that's spoilers for the scores. Oh, never mind.
That's all right. No, we can do that. But yeah, for me, the title's gone. Obviously,
I think City, the best you can hope for now is maybe winning the FA Cup. Might be, going.
Yeah, and even if they get on a run in the Champions League, I mean, I know, because if they finish in the playoff round, that's between the top 8 go through in this new format automatically, and then 9 to 24th will get drawn against one of those teams in a 2-legged playoff.
Yeah, I'm still getting my head around the new
to get into the last 16, and then that works as normal. So even if they go into the playoff, you can't write City out in the Champions League till they're out of it. But interesting that they didn't make the top 8 last year. And it look like they're not going to make the top 8 this year. No. But a great win for United. For City, back to the drawing board with the week they've had. But they've got a class manager and class players, so you wouldn't expect a major drop off. So yeah, and as for United, I mean, I'm not getting carried away being a United fan. We've seen it all.
There's been false dawns, haven't there? United. Oh yeah, they're back, and then so we will see.
Being United, I'd take any form of Europe. I know that sounds maybe a bit pessimistic, but we've been out of Europe this season.
I think you're sort of being realistic, because obviously, the only way to qualify for the Champions League now is via the league table. They've got no European competition.
And even, I'm not even on about the Europa League. I'd take Conference League, because we've been out of Europe this year, and I think when you've been out of it as a bigger club, the minimum the minimum would be to get in the Europa Conference League. The expectation would be to get in the Europa League, and
the bonus, if you like, would be to finish
the exceeding expectations. The bonus, you're right, would be Champions League football. So which is all still possible, we'll see. And it's nice to see Carrick back. I really enjoyed him as a player. One of the most underrated English footballers I think we've had. I think he was.
Long-serving, loyal, very loyal servants
Yeah,
to that club. Yeah.
and he was very good with the ball at his feet. Um, in an era where we questioned England's technical ability, I always thought he was technically a very good footballer,
Yeah.
and a top player, not a world class player, but a brilliant player, and probably was underrated by not by his teammates or his managers, but from people on the outside.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
you with that.
So we'll see how City do. Hopefully, City stay shitty, but we will see.
Yeah.
Um. Anyway, are we anything else you want to say, or
No, I don't think so. No, yeah, we will see. We'll see whether this is a new dawn at United or whether this is a false dawn, and yeah, they continue to on the downward slope. Yeah, we'll see.
find out next week?
Yeah,
The tone might be very different next week.
yeah,
So enjoy it while it lasts.
yep,
Right. So we ready
yep.
to
Absolutely ready to move on.
move on? So, after the Theatre of Dreams, which for now retain that status, we head to the Stadium of Light, where there's certainly light shining over Sunderland right now, in the top half of the table and chasing down a European place. And they faced the FA Cup winners, Crystal Palace of 2025, but it has all come crashing down for Crystal Palace over the last few weeks. I will just.
And of course, in last week's show, we covered,
Yeah,
the incredible story of, Macclesfield knocking them
yeah,
out in the
and
FA Cup.
knocking the holders out, and then finding out that Mark Gahey was being sold, and then
Yeah,
Oliver
he's
Glasner.
joined City now. Yep.
And now Oliver Glasner will be leaving at the end of the season, and then Jean-Philippe Mateta has come out and said he wants to leave in this window. So things are not rosy at the
It's all
Palace.
turning a little bit sad, isn't it? Really, at the
Yeah,
Palace. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a shame.
I'm sorry about Mateta because I think I get it at the end of the season, but chance to win something and be the main man. But anyway, yeah, so the not is all very well at the Palace, that's for sure. But here they had a great start, despite that backdrop of all the issues, as Jeremy Pino scored from outside the box in the 30th minute to give the Eagles a flying start. However, um, just 3 minutes later, Enzo Lefebvre scored in the 33rd minute. And into the second half, the comeback was complete for the side that very rarely lose at home and at the Stadium
They've
of
got a
Light. It's
great. The
been
yeah,
a
they're very resilient. Sunderland. Yeah.
has been a fortress, as Brian Brobby scored the winner for the Black Cats to sink the Eagles to yet another gut-wrenching defeat. Well, I'll get your thoughts on the game, Will,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
and the, and the two teams, and then we'll come on to what happened afterwards regarding Crystal Palace.
Oh
But yeah,
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't know how this game was gonna go. I thought it could be a very entertaining draw. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a fierce battle between the two sides, and And yeah, obviously I followed it on Final Score and watched it on Match of the Day, and yeah, and Sunderland. I mean, one thing you can say about Sunderland, unlike United, is they are resilient. They just refuse to say die, don't they? And they
Yeah.
they, they find a way to dig in and
I think the word you were looking for, well, I like that. Refuse to say die is never say die.
what did I say?
Refuse to say
Oh
die.
right, oh there you go. That's an example of me jumbling up my phrases.
We'll add that to the blooper list at the
Yeah,
end of
yeah,
the
yeah. Oh
end of
dear.
the season.
Oh dear. Anyway, but yeah, and again a brilliant result for Sunderland, and a club that's been, in a way, like United, they have been in crisis for a long time. But unlike United, they have managed to sort of pick themselves up and looking in a good, straight, clear direction. And yeah, it's brilliant to see. And yeah, the wheels are suddenly all coming off at Crystal Palace, and it's very sad how it's all looking like it's going to end after what was such a really golden period for Eagle
Yeah,
fans.
yep, and of course it still could be. They still could win the Europa Conference
Yeah,
League,
if
but
they win the Conference League, that'd be a brilliant finale to Glasner's tenure and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, and this era. So yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, we will see.
Yeah, and Sunderland just look so well organised, don't they? You see a lot of teams come up and try and play out from the back and
Yeah.
get caught and can't, because they've maybe been the best at it in the Championship, and
But
then they
but
think, oh, we
the
can just.
Premier League is a different kettle of fish. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But Sunderland play some good football, but mix their game up as well, and,
Yeah,
and, and,
exactly, and
and
that's what
don't.
a good manager. We've said this so many times on the show. You need to be a good manager. You need to be tactically flexible and not
And
stubborn. You need
that's
to
not
change
just
up.
formations, but recognising that the quality of opposition you're facing, and Eddie brought new players in, but recognising the quality of opposition is higher.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're
yeah,
going to get
yeah,
less
exactly.
time, you're going to get,
Yeah,
it's going to,
exactly,
the stakes
and
are
particularly
higher.
Granit Xhaka, who's a good leader to have in the dressing room, and must be such a great inspiration for this. A lot
Yeah.
of them are a young squad, so yeah,
And
that's
his
really good.
experience, because something with Granit Xhaka, as all people do in life, and that comes with life experience, but especially apparent with Granit, is that he's been through some really tough times
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
yeah, like when he sort of ripped off his Arsenal shirt, and yeah, well we thought that was near the end of Emery's tenure at Arsenal, and we thought,
Yeah.
well, do you know what, that's going to be the end of his Arsenal career. He's going to go. So yeah,
And the fans were against him, and then he became one of the fans' favourites
yeah,
near the
and
end.
then Arteta, Arteta convinced him to stay as well when he took over. So yeah, yeah,
And then he became one of the favourites, and he's become a really good professional. He's far less hot-headed on the pitch. Yes, he can still lose it sometimes, but I think with age, he's really, because he used to
I
get.
noticed he's get. I remember at Arsenal, he used to have a lot of yellow cards, didn't he? Or often got sending offs and stuff. But I
Yeah,
noticed that
yeah, but
it's.
he's calmed
But
down
I
a
noticed
lot.
at Sunderland, I don't think I can recall a game since he's played for Sunderland when he's got
Yeah,
sent off. So
I don't think he has. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe once, but I think also it's it's having those younger players around him. Similarly, when he was at Arsenal and he had Saka,
yeah,
Smith Rowe, Martinelli coming through,
yeah,
and
exactly.
having to be more responsible.
Yeah,
You know,
because
you are
you're
the
a role
leader.
model, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
are the leader. You are the you are one of the players these younger guys will really look up to. You've done it all. You've played in the Champions League.
Won
You've
the FA
won.
Cup, yeah.
You've won the Bundesliga with Leverkusen. You've had big nights. You've played in World Cups and Euros. So you know at a high level. So
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
it
Completely agree
it's
with you.
it's that thing of him going. You know what? I need to change a bit here.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
with age as well, I need to
credit to
leave.
him. He's, probably had a look at himself in the mirror and yeah, something needs to change, and he's done it sort of quietly in his own way, and
Yeah, and I also love how he organizes his team. I can't say his name now. Regis Labrie said that um, Granit Xhaka is like the manager, him on the pitch, which I quite enjoyed
yeah,
that quote,
I can imagine actually, yeah,
saying that he is like he believes he will go into management after his career. He has a real understanding of what the manager wants, and he will not let the lads slip from that.
well,
And that,
that's good. That's a credit to him, and that's probably why they're doing so well. So yeah,
yeah, and you imagine in Sunderland, and we'll come on to Palace in a
yeah,
second a little bit more, but you imagine Sunderland, it's a Premier League club. There's a lot of pressure. I know they get paid a lot of money, but there is a lot of pressure, and I think somebody like Granit Xhaka, if you had, I imagine if you're a young player and you have an issue, like with the way the fans react to something you did, or just having an issue, coping with the pressure,
yeah.
he's been there, he's been that. So,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So he can relate to them, and that's important for a
um,
young player.
yeah.
That yeah,
I think sometimes we look for in leaders perfect role models, but actually, leaders can come out of people good leaders can come out of people that have been knocked
oh, I agree
down.
exactly because
Have had to,
they can relate to whatever you're struggling with. So yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Yeah,
and I think, to be fair, it showed me a lot about. When I think about it now, it showed a lot about his character when he was at Arsenal. Obviously, ripped his shirt off. The fans were booing, and yet he did stay. So
yeah,
it would have
yeah.
been
Well, it's
very
credit to he
easy to
said
go.
Mikel Arteta really was the one. If Arteta hadn't have come, he said he would have been
Yeah.
would have left.
Well, I mean, even still to go, you know what? I know the fans don't really like me, but I'm going to win them back over. That shows that shows
That's
strength and
incredible
character.
mental strength and maturity, and yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Um, there is one player and Sunderland obviously brought in a lot of young players, and it just shows how, even though they did a lot of recruiting in the summer,
yeah,
how when you get your recruitment right, it can really
yeah,
work,
yeah,
even if you
exactly.
bring them, because they've gelled pretty much
Yeah, they have.
straight
Yeah,
away, which is amazing considering. And they lost Bellingham as well, Joe
of course they
Bellingham,
did.
who
Yeah,
you
to Dortmund. Yeah,
and they've lost a few other players, but they've reinvested, sorry, that money
yeah.
really, really well. And one player I do want to talk about, not just because he's in my fantasy football team. Don't forget to do that, people. By the way,
Oh yes.
just a shout out to all you fantasy lovers out there. Is one player I'd love to talk about is Robin Roos.
Oh right.
Um,
Yes. Yeah.
the Sunderland goalie, because I think he has been amongst. Yes, they've got a good defence and a good structure, but he has been absolutely brilliant and as safe
Well, of
as
course,
houses at the
in
back.
all good teams you need a good goalkeeper. So yeah, that you can
And he's
rely on.
coming as number one. We didn't know too much about Roos, and he's just been unflappable. He's looked, he's commanding. I think the second choice goalie is Anthony Patterson, and he was
Sounds about right.
Yeah, yeah, I'm right with that. And he was the number one in the championship and had a great season.
So
And people were like, "Well,
that's a big call actually then to change the
what?
goalkeeper.
Why are you replacing him with not just a better goalie, but somebody we'd never heard of who's only 21, 22, is he? So he's very young for a goalkeeper,
Yeah, he
extremely young.
is. Yeah,
So, and he's coming and he's taken, the Premier League is hard because you've got to be able to catch things, and something Donnarumma's finding, as good as goalie as he is, he can't. He struggles to catch things, and you need to be able to be commanding in the Premier League because
oh
there's a physical.
because
The,
it's a whole different league compared to the other
yeah.
leagues. Yeah,
Well, physicality it is, absolutely.
yeah,
I think technically there's probably some leagues that require you to be a bit more technical, maybe as a goalie, but certainly physically. And he's come in and been absolutely brilliant. And of course, uh, Regis Labrie has been at the forefront of that. You never know how managers are going to sign, are gonna find the step up
yeah. Of
first
course,
time.
yeah. I think
And
everyone was expecting Sunderland to go down. Honestly, this season.
well, especially as the bottom three, the last two seasons have been the three that came up. So
Yeah,
but Sunderland and Leeds have started to, you know,
Leeds. I think will be all right. Yeah,
and then Leeds are unlucky not to be in our three games. But what we will do, I might just say it now, is whatever happens with Leeds next week, we might do a little piece
yeah. I
on
think so.
on,
Yeah, that'll be good.
on them as they've turned it all
Oh,
around.
by the
So
way, just before we go on to Palace, like you said, I believe I was reading that Granit Xhaka said he spoke to Jermaine Defoe, whether to come to Sunderland and stuff. So I thought that was quite funny, actually. I didn't expect him to name check Jermaine Defoe. So, yeah.
yeah, especially with him being an ex-Tottenham boy.
Yeah, so, but he asked him and, had advice from another player that he knew who I couldn't remember who I hadn't heard of. But, so when he got the call to join Sunderland, Jerry asked them and, they said, "Oh yeah, you'll love it. It'll be a good place for you there." So that's pretty
And
amazing.
it's the northeast, and the northeast, as we know, like Leeds, Sunderland, Newcastle. You know, it's a bedrock for football, a
Yeah.
cauldron. So
I mean, by the
so
way,
the
when
fans,
Sunderland beat Newcastle, that was probably for the fans. That would be probably the best result they've had in
for years.
years. Yeah, when they beat
But
them.
but but Newcastle, but the northeast fans in general, you put Middlesbrough into that, or any northeast ground you go to professionally, the fans are amazing. They adore you up there. You're almost treated like a sacred figure. If you do well, the fans
Totally.
will.
Yeah,
I think that is different to any other. Like, I don't, even in the northwest, or Birmingham and definitely London, you don't get that. There's just something unique about playing in the northeast and the north of England. So and Scotland, I think the whole of Scotland have been able to come about their football. So brilliant for Sunderland. Long may it continue. Nice to see, there've been a club that's been down in League One.
been through how
In
many God knows managers as well. So yeah,
in recent times, so back-to-back relegations, and it just shows when you awake the sleeping giants, which they are a giant of a football club.
yeah.
Look what can happen. Just quickly, Will, before we move on, just a quick word afterwards. I've not got the exact
Oh, you're
exact.
gonna ask me about the Oliver Glasner, the comments, the outburst that he had. Yeah.
Well, I've not got the exact quotes here in front of me, but just to backtrack a bit, on Friday last week, so a week ago at the time of recording, Oliver Glasner came out in his press conference, and when asked about if Mark Gahey leaving would affect his future, and he said that was already done in the October international break. And then it all seemed okay, and he said, "Yeah, I will continue," and you
I'll
know,
continue till the end of the season,
yeah,
and then part
and then
ways again, yeah.
yeah, yeah, and we'll keep going. Then they played the game.
Yeah.
He said he was surprised Mark Gahey was being sold, but anyway, that all was okay. And then they played the game against Sunderland, and I get managers are emotional and people are emotional after
Yeah,
they've
well,
just lost.
see Ruben Amorim and in particular is a good example.
Yeah, just lost and come off the field. But to quote, paraphrase Glasner, he said, I feel like we
I
are,
feel
he
like we're
went on
being
a bigger,
abandoned. Yeah.
he said he went on a big outburst, whereas Will just said, he said, I feel like we've been abandoned. If Crystal Palace are okay with just being a mid-table team, then that's up to them. And then asked if he would carry on again after into the press conferences went on as well, not just in the in the post-match interview. He said, asked if he was carrying on, he was like, I don't know, I don't care. That kind of
And then
mentality.
he
So
also said, if your heart gets broken 2 times, first with Eze, and then Gay as well. So yeah.
well, he said, I think his words were, "You're right. If your heart gets ripped out,
Oh, that was
uh,
right. Yes, yeah. I
if
knew
your
he was
heart gets
talking along
ripped out
those lines.
twice a year, then like he was basically saying, "What do you expect me to do?"
Yeah.
Like, but so just your thoughts on that. Well, obviously, I've heard opinions about it, and people have said, "Well, he did sign up for Crystal Palace, and as well as he's done, Crystal Palace are." In the big scheme of things, a smaller
Yeah,
club that
generally,
will, if they play well,
traditionally, yeah.
will lose their better players. So, and but then I do see the argument that the club maybe
You should have
could have
ambition.
backed
We
him.
can be we can be better than this if we play
Yeah,
good. We can be up
because
there with the big teams.
he's clearly a very ambitious man who demands a lot from people because he wants to do the best and do the best for him as well and get opportunities. And
Exactly,
I
I admire him for that.
even though it's Crystal Palace, if and he was coming to the end of his contract, if they'd shown in the summer real ambition and gone out and brought good players, there might have been a chance he could have stayed.
Yeah, I agree.
Despite the interest, if he could see the club was going forward. But just your overall view on that and managers coming out in general and
Well, yeah,
making
it's
statements.
becoming a running thing, isn't it now? Because Maresca and Amarim and now this. Yeah, well, I think
Yeah,
first of all, I was quite stunned by that outburst because Glasner's usually a relatively calm guy.
yeah,
Or that's the impression I get out of him, certainly. But I just could not believe what I was hearing. There was pure, there was, I could like feel his anger. If I
yeah.
was a reporter interviewing him, I'd be kind of quite shaken by that. Hearing that pure, proper anger, and yeah, I yeah, I'm not sure. I think I'm not sure he's necessarily helped himself with those comments, but at the same time, I can see where he's coming from as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Is
hard
he in
one.
the right or in the wrong for what he's said?
I think obviously we believe in free speech, so you should be able, and you shouldn't be sacked for you know saying what you think. And yeah, I don't think Glasner, and I would hope Steve Parish um, doesn't sack him. And but yeah, you just never know with football these days.
It's risky as well, because when you are, if I was in any job and I was basically saying, give or take, my owners aren't good enough, my owners don't match my ambition, publicly it's different if you say it privately,
Oh,
but
exactly. Yeah,
my
yeah.
my owners my owners are not good enough for Oliver Glasner. Then oh, my owners are not good enough for how good I've become. Then if I did that in a job, then I'd probably get sacked for coming out like that, and because you're basically attacking the whether it's right or wrong, you've not gone about it the right way, and you're
Well, yeah,
attacking
yeah.
the
I mean, really, really, you should be sort of, I guess, doing it behind closed doors because that's respectful, and then you can say, right, yeah, yeah, let's talk about this, let's have a meeting, and let's try to solve these issues. And it's
Well,
harder to
but it's
solve.
interesting. Yeah, carry
And
on.
it's harder to solve issues, obviously, if you go out publicly in front of the media. Uh, that doesn't really solve anything. So yeah,
No,
it's a hard one. I would hope Steve Parish would be, don't pull the trigger. But yeah, who knows?
just to flip that though, Will, and I agree with what Oliver Glasner's done. He should have got more
Oh
support.
yes, yes,
I
I
think
agree. Because after
fair
losing
enough.
Elise and
Fair
yeah,
enough, Gay he goes or as he goes, but it's who you're bringing in. They were probably not going to hang around forever. But where's the next one? Let's build the club and then start to get players. Champions of the FA Cup, winners of the FA Cup, Europa League, Conference League. Let's get people. People want to come and play for Oliver Glasner as well because he's an ambitious guy.
yeah, exactly. And
But now,
I think that's quite right for him. You've got to have ambition in life. Whatever you
yeah.
do, really.
But if I was to flip that, so let's flip it and say Mark Gahey hadn't been sold, and we know that Mark Gahey is not like this. So it's a no. Let's not use Mark Gahey
Oh
because
yeah,
it's a
well
bad example.
he's already gone to
But,
City. Yeah.
yeah, but it's a bad example. If Alexander Isak had played for Crystal Palace,
Yes.
right, and wanted to leave to go to Liverpool, say,
Yeah.
and it said this about his employers, similar to what Oliver Glasner. The club aren't backing me. They're not letting me go. They're not, in slightly different ways that the club don't want to make my dreams come a reality and all this.
Yeah.
We'd be saying that's disgraceful behaviour. He can't do that. He's employed by by Crystal Palace, just as a sake. I know
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
employed by
Yeah. Yeah.
Newcastle,
That is true.
but we'd be saying that's disgusting behaviour. Dock him his wages. Don't you can't. If he said, right, this player's been sold, this player's been sold, this player's been sold, I'm going, and the club went, no, you're not going,
Yeah.
and then he goes, well, I don't want to play for you anymore, then we'd be all be saying what an entitled
Well,
individual
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
is.
exactly. And there's
So,
been many examples
so,
of that. Yeah.
so my point being, that was just hypothetically, my point being, do we give managers a bit more of a pass to come out and say what they think
Well,
than we do players?
yeah, I guess they don't play the game, I guess.
But they're still an employee of the club.
Yeah, it's it's a really hard one. But
Maybe it's something we could put out there to the viewers, and I might do it now.
yeah. If
If
what
you're
do you think,
watching it,
people? If you put in the comment, yeah, put in the comments below, maybe what you think on this issue.
do we just the point is, do we give managers a bit more of a pass, a bit more of a freedom to say what they think than players? Owners is different because even though we might not like it, they own the football
Yeah,
club, so
exactly.
they can
They're
say
in
what they
charge of the
want.
finances, and they have to make it all work. Which, yeah,
So they can
exactly.
say roughly what they want. That's
Well,
fine.
exactly, and they're often sort of in the background, if you like, aren't they? So yeah.
Yeah, but even people that aren't like the Nottingham Forest owner, we might not like what he says, but
Fair
at the
enough.
end of the day,
Yeah.
it's his money.
Yeah.
He's the one that owns the football club. So do we give managers more of a pass to come out in outbursts and protest than we do players? Slightly different because obviously Oliver Glasner hasn't refused to manage Palace, but even so, do we still criticize players more and take it more to heart what players
Yeah.
say than managers? So please come back to us on that. I think
Yeah, I
that's a
think that's a
really
really
good.
interesting question, and I can't wait. When George and Ben are back, I'd be interested to hear their views on that as well. So,
Yeah, it's something that just occurred to me because they're both employees of the
yeah,
club.
exactly. And
So
they're sort of really, they both have the badge on, if you like. And yeah,
yeah, they both represent the same thing.
exactly. Yeah, that's a
And
really
but
interesting question, actually.
it's something we've not really discussed, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great
as
one.
this is happening more and more often with players and
Well, yeah,
managers,
when
we
you
should.
think as this season we've had Nuno saying he's not coming out saying my relationship with the owner is not so good anymore. Then he gets sacked. We've had Maresca, and also the one thing that doesn't help as well is being cryptic. Maresca and Amarim have both been guilty of this, sending very cryptic messages but refusing to elaborate. And if
I suppose that's the one thing Oliver Glasner wasn't.
well,
He wasn't
yes,
cryptic.
exactly. If I was just thinking, well, you're not helping. You're really not helping yourselves by dropping these cryptic. I would argue if you're cryptic, you're doing far more damage, really. Yeah.
Last point on this. He did say as well, which I didn't really like, and I like Oliver Glasner a lot. Don't
Oh,
get
was
me
this
wrong.
about
But
if Crystal Palace want to be sort of a mid-table club,
no,
if you like?
no. He said Oliver Glasner will stay till the end of the season because
What
the
Steve
players.
Parish has said this, have they? Oh.
No. Oliver Glasner said. Oliver Glasner said then after he
Oh,
outburst
sorry. Yeah,
said.
he said he will stay for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
Sorry. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
because at the end of his outburst, um because the players need Oliver Glasner, as if saying like, without Oliver Glasner, these players can't perform, which also gives you a bit of contradiction.
That sounds like he's got a bit of an ego, though, doesn't it? Actually, without me, these players are nothing really.
Yeah,
Which
yeah. So
no one should be bigger than the club, whether you're a player or
yeah,
manager. You know,
yeah.
this club has been long before you, and it will be long after you. So
And it's given you the opportunity to manage in the Premier League
okay,
and show your
I
talent.
would agree with you. That is probably going too far, and if I was Steve Parish, I would say, right, most of what you said was fair enough, but that last comment was bang out of order.
Well, they haven't talked.
No one is. You're not bigger than the club, and the club is bigger
Even
than you.
even the chairman is not bigger. The owner is not bigger than the club because he'll sell it to
Well,
another
exactly.
owner.
Inevitably, yeah, in the future, whenever it'll be, exactly, yeah. So yeah,
So interesting.
no one, manager, owner, no one is bigger than the club, and I think Glasner, I think that's the one thing he did get wrong, and that was bang out of order. Everything else that he said, fair enough, but that comment for me probably oversteps the line.
Well, apparently they have had clear the air talks, Steve Parish and Oliver
I'm not
Glasner, and it
surprised. I
looks
could just
like
imagine as soon as that interview, Steve Parrish just like emergency meeting. Get in here, Oliver. Yeah.
so that is remains to be seen. It looks like he will take charge. Well, he definitely will take charge, barring something amazing at the weekend, and is carrying on at the minute. Right, we've spoken a lot about that. So shall we
Definitely
move
yeah.
on? So, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium,
Another derby.
another derby and two teams that really don't like each other
Well, not
commence.
as much as Arsenal and Tottenham, though. Surely.
It's not far off. It's not quite, but West Ham and Tottenham fans do not like each other.
Right. Okay.
But at the London Stadium, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, out of form and out of shape, Tottenham faced and struggling Tottenham faced a similar
out of shape West Ham. Yeah.
West Ham in not quite a basement battle, but a battle of the two managers, and they were calling it the El Sakiko,
I like
because
that.
they thought
The El
whoever
Sakiko.
whoever lost was going to lose their job. That hasn't happened in this case, but El Sakiko is what they were saying. But and it was actually the former Tottenham and Nottingham Forest manager. We mentioned him in terms of outbursts. Nuno Espirito Santos, West Ham, who travelled to Thomas Frank's struggling Tottenham. And well, the word Spursy comes to mind because despite Tottenham starting the better and Conor Gallagher on his debut for Tottenham,
on paper is a really good signing as well.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. And it started well. I was in the car on the radio, and it was all Tottenham. But then West Ham broke, and Crysencio Somerville scored in the 15th minute to give the visitors the lead. Christian Romero, the Tottenham captain, provided a little.
The board as well. I don't know if you saw this, Sam, but he was
he did.
the board as well with Tottenham.
He did. He scored the equaliser for a little bit of respite and hope for Tottenham in the 64th minute before veteran striker Callum Wilson came off the bench and scored in the 93rd minute, so 90+3 in injury time. So to give the Hammers a win and produce a hammer blow to Thomas Frank and Tottenham. Interesting in this game, Will, and I'll come back to you now because I'm aware my camera's off. Interesting this because you probably saw it on Match of the Day. I have watched the highlights as well and listened to it on the radio coming back from Manchester. The boos at half time and full time and the toxic atmosphere
that sounded really nasty, and I was thinking, how long can Thomas Frank survive?
Yeah.
Because that sounds.
And don't get me wrong, it's not all about Thomas Frank. It's the board as well and the ownership.
In a way, I suppose Christian Romero was was right, yeah, to have a go at the board,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the Lewis family, who own Tottenham, the majority shareholders, obviously Daniel Levy isn't the chairman anymore,
No.
but the problems continue, and they're not happy
Which I
with the
think
structure of
shows
the club.
it's not Daniel. It wasn't Daniel Levy's fault, was it? Really, it comes down to the Lewis family. Daniel Levy got loads of grief during his tenure, but
Well,
yeah.
I suppose he is only a mouthpiece
Well,
for
exactly. He's an
for
employee for the owners. Will tell him what to do. So yeah.
but um but yeah, it's one of those things. Something that West Ham haven't been happy about as well. The two sides had similar problems really with the breakdown between the fans and the ownership
Yeah.
wanting change. There were banners in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium saying "Time to change."
Yes, I saw them. Yeah.
Time for change, not to change. Time for change, and I know West Ham fans
Yeah.
have
They want
had
Aaron Brady and co to go, don't they? Really? Yeah.
have had similar issues, but two teams who fans, I'm sure, as much as they don't like each other, can recognise.
Sympathise, yeah, that they're both similar. I mean, slightly West Ham have been slightly worse than Tottenham in terms of this season that they've they've
You could
struggled since
argue
the
West
start.
Ham aren't as big as Tottenham anyway, so
Well, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that is true. Yeah,
They're both having serious issues. Tottenham languishing in mid-table, lower mid-table, and West Ham firmly in the relegation zone despite that victory. But there was relief for the Hammers, as we said, as Somerville and then Wilson completed their
yeah,
victory.
which I thought
So
was quite funny. But in fact, they talked to Nuno about this. You know, talks of Callum Wilson leaving. Are you gonna let him go now that he's saved you really? Well, maybe has saved you. Yeah, with a huge win. So yeah, and he said,
what did he say?
well, he was
And didn't
sort of in your classic sort of non-committal way, sort of talking like a politician. Well, he's here. He's part of the group, and yeah, we have to rely on everyone. So yeah, he didn't.
I think it would be a mistake for West Ham to
Yeah,
let
because
Wilson go.
I think West Ham have so few leaders, don't they, in this squad now?
Somebody of his experience, he knows where the net is, which they're going to need if they're going to
Yeah,
survive.
exactly. It's a good
Yes,
option to bring off
yes,
the bench.
is he the long-term future? Probably not. But in a relegation battle, he's been there with Bournemouth.
Bournemouth and
He
Newcastle, yeah.
he knows where the net is, which when you're down there trying to find, you could bring in a £20 million striker, but £30 million, but as we've seen with West Ham players over the years, strikers that don't always perform.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know what you're going to get with Callum. So I think they should focus on other areas like the defence
Well,
rather than
yes, I agree with you, yeah.
yeah. So, but yes, it was built as El Sakiko, but the man who lost it, Thomas Frank, who I really, really like. I feel a bit sorry for
I
Thomas
like
Frank.
him, and whenever he speaks, as well, his interviews, he speaks so well and so detailed as well that he doesn't try and make excuses as well. He's a very honest.
No, and you talk about flexibility. He is very flexible, changes the
Yeah,
formations, tries
exactly.
to do
Yeah.
the right thing. But it just hasn't worked out so far, and it is not that it's an excuse, but they have got a lot of
Oh
injuries,
yeah, and in
eight,
fact,
nine
the
players
injuries
injured.
just seem to be piling up. In the Champions League game, I believe, another player, who I can't remember, had gone off injured, and yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's not an excuse, but yeah,
Was
they
it
are suffering a
Bergvall?
really
Could have
bad
been
injury crisis at the moment.
Bergvall actually, but
think,
Yeah.
I think it was him actually. Yeah, thank you.
I think it's a shame they've had Madison out, Kulusevski out, Solanke I know came back midweek, but he's been
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
They've had Ben Davis has now got an injury. They've got Doggy's been in and out with injury. They've had there's another one as well.
Yeah.
But they've had quite a few
Yeah, they have
few.
been ravaged. Yeah, they have absolutely been
So,
ravaged.
so you do have to take that in consideration. However, they've still got some very good footballers available, and the
Well, exactly,
performances,
and the
especially at
problem is that
home,
it's on. It shouldn't be about the manage. You shouldn't always blame the
especially at
manager.
home, if their away form had been similar to the home form, they'd be below Wolves probably right now. But
Exactly. So, and when I
but
saw the West Ham, the result was like, oh, that is a really, really bad win. Really bad defeat for Tottenham. I was like, I'm not sure Frank can survive this because that is a really, really bad defeat.
can he turn it around well to an extent? I'm not talking about winning every game, but can he? Is Thomas Frank capable? Does he deserve time to turn it around?
I
Your
really
views?
hope so. I think he does deserve it because he is, like we've said, he's absolutely ravaged. His squad is down to the bare bones, really. Um, and yeah, I really hope he is given time. Beating Dortmund in the Champions League, that was at least gave him a little bit of respite, I suppose. But yeah, we will see. I really do hope so because I really do like Thomas Frank and
I think he's a good manager as well. Like he's not one of these, like when Amarin came in and we were like, I'm not sure. Like Thomas Frank, we've watched him and he is detailed and he seems to know his stuff. So there's no doubt that he's a good
yeah,
manager,
I
but
love
not.
one thing I loved about him when he came to Tottenham is he name checked Ange as well, which it's not often that incoming managers name check their predecessor, but that was also very classy, saying what Ange did, bringing the
Yeah.
Europa League, and yeah, I thought that was very very classy of him. So yeah,
I also think from a Tottenham point of view that we forget and we can't forget, and that the Europa League is partly responsible for this.
well exactly,
Tottenham
they were
finished
terrible last season, weren't they? If they hadn't have
Tottenham,
had that, yeah.
Tottenham finished 17th last year, one place above the relegation
Which is
zone. So
unthinkable when you think, Pochettino and even, Conte and Mourinho, who didn't do that well, they were nowhere near that.
the
Those
only
teams.
teams that finished below Tottenham were the three newly promoted sides who got relegated. So
That
what
tells
I'm
you how
saying
we
is,
were, yeah.
I think the Europa League win kind
It,
of
it papered
puts
over the
people,
cracks, didn't it, really?
yeah, and it puts people in the mindset. Well, Tottenham are in the Champions League. Tottenham should be up there, and as a club, they should be up there. But they finished 17th last year for a reason. So
Because they were
so
absolutely poor, yeah.
yeah, and again, of course, they were decimated by injuries. But the facts are that they finished 17th.
Exactly.
So you know, is 12th, 13th, 14th progress, and is it enough progress? Only time will
Well, yeah,
tell.
I mean, I don't know. Really, if you're Tottenham, you should be in the top four, or at least in the top half of the table. Really.
But judging on where they were last year, is it a surprise that they're struggling so
Well,
much?
yeah,
Probably
exactly.
not.
But
Probably,
also, if you sack
probably not.
Thomas Frank, they've tried Jose Mourinho, they've tried Antonio Conte, they've tried two really world class coaches, if you like.
Then they tried the manager who was just attacking and press all over the
Yeah,
pitch,
exactly.
and
So they've tried. If you're gonna sack Thomas Frank, who who are you going to get? You can't just keep sacking managers, really.
And we've tried all different types of managers.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
you'd say Ange was a Tottenham manager in terms of they want attacking football. Well, they got that, but he was too
But it
over
came with a
attacking,
price. Yeah, exactly.
and that's what happened. So yeah, so that is that. You just on these two teams, are Tottenham in a relegation battle?
No, I don't think they're gonna go down. I think they will. They will pick themselves up. I mean, it'll be hard to get there, but I think they will. West Ham, I think this win is papering over the cracks. Really, it's hard to see them rescuing themselves now.
You don't think they will survive despite cutting their gap to Forest?
No. I think West Ham are really going to. I think it's going to be West Ham, Forest, and Wolves. Yeah.
Hang on. So you think Burnley will survive?
Yes.
But
I
the
think I
team
think
above.
Burnley may just survive, just, but I don't think they will go down. Yeah.
Interesting. I think Wolves and Burnley are gone.
Okay.
And then I
Wolves, I
think the
definitely
fight.
agree with. Yeah.
So I think Wolves and Burnley will go.
Right.
And I think the fight will be between West Ham and Nottingham Forest.
Okay.
Stay
Fair
up.
enough. Yeah. Yeah.
And I
We'll see come
think
the end of the season.
probably Forest will have enough, but we will see. Um, we've got, you know, if Crystal Palace go on a terrible run now, who knows?
No, they're not going to go down, surely. That would require
But
a dramatic collapse.
they're 7 points off
Oh, okay,
Forest and
that's not actually much actually. So yeah, they could be.
9 points off. I
I
think
don't think Palace will go down.
no, we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
we will
see.
see.
But here's another question: do both Nuno and Frank
Keep their jobs.
do they survive till the end of the season?
Yes. Well, I think West Ham have got to at least stick with Nuno until the end of the season because we've already been through. Let's see. Oh no, who was it? I lost track. Oh yes, it was Julian Locatelli. Oh no, that was last season, wasn't it? Then it was Graham Potter. Then it was Graham Potter the start of this season. And then it's Nuno. Have I got that correct? I've lost track with
Yeah,
West Ham. Yeah. So
yeah.
I think they've kind of got to give Nuno and you know we're at the end of January. Just give him till the rest of the season. And Frank, well, at this point, you might as well give him the rest of the season. Maybe they could go on a really good Champions League run as well. And, you know, maybe, unlikely, but, you know, maybe, for example, they could pull off a shock and win the Champions League, for example. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Oh,
doubt
yeah,
it, but he'll
I
give
doubt
you
it, yeah, but I'm just, I think,
back-to-back European trophies for Tottenham
well, I know that would be pretty bizarre in.
for one of the worst
Well,
Tottenham
yeah, I
sides
know, but you know,
in recent memory.
football works in some really funny ways, and but yeah, I
I
think
bet Harry Kane's thinking in that core group of Dele Alli, not Song because he was there, but
Ali Kane, Ericsson, yeah,
Walker,
yeah,
you know,
Jordan
Rose,
Trippier, yeah,
Lloris. I bet they're thinking, how the hell did this team, no disrespect, win a major trophy, and we were about 100 years ahead of them, and we couldn't win anything.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's just the way football goes, and
That's the way the cookie crumbles, as
exactly.
they say.
But yeah, I mean, we're at the end of January now. You might as well just give them till the end of the season, and then review at the end of the season, then decide. But yeah, there's no point getting another manager in now, really.
Yeah, I agree. I
The
agree.
time to do it
Right.
is Christmas, really. If you're going to bring in a new manager, do it at Christmas time, really. That's the time to
Yeah.
change, not at the end of January, because yeah,
Well, as they say, only time will tell.
exactly.
Are we ready
Oh
to
yeah,
move
yeah,
on to
yeah,
the?
definitely, yeah. Ready to move on.
I think we've done well there. I've enjoyed those chats.
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
interesting
some really,
points in
really
all.
good chaps, especially uh, our managers, same standard as players in terms of their outbursts. That was probably my favourite point. So yeah,
And their
yeah,
accountability,
exactly.
yeah.
So yeah,
Um, so, sorry, Will, just give me a second to get the other
oh,
results
absolutely, yep,
back
yep.
up and running. Yeah, so I will read you through the whole of the Premier League results, even though including our three featured
Yep,
games.
absolutely.
So,
Fire away.
starting with the Manchester Derby, and as we discussed, it was a perfect start for Michael Carrick's interim reign
I
as
loved.
the
Sorry
Red
to
Devils.
interrupt you, but did you see Carrick jumping up when the I think it was the second goal that scored, and it was just
Yeah,
wonderful to
I
see
thought he
that
was gonna.
passion.
I thought he was gonna do a Jurgen Klopp and pull his hamstring.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. It's wonderful
but
to see. Anyway, continue on.
yeah, so Manchester United 2, Manchester City nil. In his Premier League bow, Liam Rossini beat Keith Andrews' impressive Brentford side 2-0. So Chelsea 2,
I bet you were
Brentford
like,
nil.
yeah,
Uh,
Liam's doing it, yeah.
well, I don't support Chelsea, but I want him to do well.
Yeah,
Um,
that's why I thought you would say
a
that.
dramatic injury time winner for Leeds saw them beat Fulham at Ellen Road and continue their good form 1-0. Um, Liverpool slipped up again at Anfield. Shout out to Steven Gerrard there for his slip. Well, the team is slipping again as Liverpool drew with relegation threatened Burnley
That
one
was
all.
embarrassing. I was like, oh dear, that's not. And I was thinking, oh, is Slot's job in fret fret
They've
form?
been better recently though.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So moving on, Sunderland at the Stadium of Light, as we've discussed in our second feature game, beat out of sorts Crystal Palace 2-1. As we've discussed as our third um, game, uh, the Tottenham 1, West Ham 2 in El Sacico. That didn't end up being El Sacico. Uh, in the late game on Saturday, um, it finished at the City Ground, Nottingham Forest nil, Arsenal nil. So Arsenal dropping points. Where have we gone? Oh right, that's because that's there. Hey, hang on. Sorry, Will. 1 second. Oh right, that's okay. We also have Brighton Monday Night Football. Brighton 1, Bournemouth 1 as they start life without Premier League live
Antoine
Bournemouth
Semenyo.
without Antoine Semenyo. It finished Wolves nil, Newcastle nil at Molineux as Wolves improve form continues. And to finish, it finished in the title race. Aston Villa nil, Everton 1. So despite City losing,
Arsenal
and
slipping up.
sorry, so despite drawing at home away to Nottingham Forest, Arsenal extend their lead again as far as Villa and City both lost. Um,
Pretty
so
extraordinary. Yeah, that was an extraordinary weekend, really. Yeah, because Liverpool, if you think mainly the big teams, if you like, a lot of them ended up slipping up all at once.
They did. They did. And we know Liverpool have previous when it comes to slips. So
You are not giving them an easy time. You are really sticking that dagger in.
I am. So we will move on now to the Championship. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, some interesting matches there. I thought actually Brentford played very well against Chelsea, but couldn't take their chances.
Yeah, I thought that would end up being a draw or something. But yeah, good for Liam Rosenior. His good start seems to be continuing now. So yeah. And he's got them building Lego apparently. It was part of the sort of, I think it's for team bonding. Yeah, but he's got them building Lego. Did you know that?
Why not? Why not? If they feel that's gonna work, team bonding, I'm all for team bonding.
Yeah.
Championship matches. Here we go. We'll move on to the Championship now, where me and Ryan built Lego for years, flipping it.
You'll be buying a set now. The Liam Rosenior effect.
Yeah, absolutely. So, where are we with these results? Let me just go back to the right results. That's Tuesday, that's Saturday. So, we start in the Friday night football as West Brom, under their new manager, faced Eric Ramsey, faced high-flying Middlesbrough, and it finished in this game. It was a Friday night thriller, as it finished West Brom 2, Middlesbrough 3 at the Hawthorns to keep the pressure on Coventry at the top of the table. Into Saturday, it finished Swansea City 1, Birmingham 1 at the Swansea.com Stadium, better known as the Liberty Stadium. Second from bottom, Norwich travelled to the racecourse where they met Wrexham after their FA Cup success and giant killing against Nottingham Forest, and it finished Wrexham 1, Norwich City 2, so a massive boost for Norwich in their survival hopes. Off to Stoke now. Could you do it in a rainy night in Stoke? Well, at the Bet365 Stadium, it finished Stoke 0, QPR 0. So a bit like Stoke itself, pretty drab game there. St Mary's, a lovely place down on the south coast in Southampton. It finished Southampton 1, Hull City 2. Sheffield Wednesday's struggles continued as they lost.
On the pitch and
they lost, yeah, off the pitch more than on it, I think. Sheffield Wednesday lost 1-0 at Hillsborough to Portsmouth. It finished Preston 0 at Deepdale, Derby County 1. Oxford United and Bristol City played out a 0-0 draw. Charlton 1, Sheffield United 0. Watford 0, Millwall 2 at Vicarage Road. That Charlton game, of course, was at the Valley. Ipswich 3, Blackburn 0 at Ipswich's ground, Portman Road. And to finish, it finished Coventry City 2, Leicester City 1 in a Midlands derby. So Coventry are still at the top of the table, along with Middlesbrough.
Frank not doing a good job. You said, oh yeah, no, they'll struggle. They're
Yeah,
doomed.
I think you'll find, Will, that I actually held my hands up a few weeks
Oh
ago
yeah,
and
yeah,
said
you
I got it
promised.
wrong. So you're a bit out of date there, mate. You know, trying to have a go and a pop. And
Okay.
I'm doing this voluntarily.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry,
You
boss.
need to improve your. If you're gonna insult me, then improve your insults.
Okay.
Because normally you're better than that, but that was that was pretty drab. You're not from Stoke, are you? No. In disguise. In disguise. Anyway, I'm only joking, Stoke fans. Please don't kill me. Anyway, I'll be barred from Stoke forever. Anyway, we are into League One now, and let me just get my matches up here. Where's that? That is Tuesday, okay. So Saturday the 10th of January. No, it won't be that one. Oh, yeah, Saturday 17th of January. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, because at
got
the
it.
time of recording, it's the
Right.
23rd of January. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's right. Anyway, after my howler, Stockport played Rotherham and
You
Edgeley
sure you're not
Park, and
from Stoke?
it finished Stockport 3, Rotherham 2. I'm going to ignore that.
No,
Peterborough
someone came back.
played Peterborough played at home against Plymouth, and it finished 1-0 to the away team. Northampton, if I don't say the ground, by the way, it means I don't know what the ground
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Northampton 1, Wickham 2, Mansfield 3, Port Vale Scum 0. Yeah, get in. The top just Stoke was a
I can
shithole.
just imagine you saying,
Anyway,
down you go, down you go.
yeah.
You'll be like
Yeah,
getting
3-0 win for the
you'll
home
be getting
team.
ready for a Port Vale gravestone, getting ready to bury the
Oh,
coffin.
well. Kenilworth Road, it finished Luton Town 2, Lincoln City 2, Leyton Orient 3, Reading 1, Exeter City 3, Stevenage 0, Burton Albion 3, Huddersfield 1, Barnsley 2, Blackpool 1, Wimbledon 0, Doncaster 1, Wigan, hang on, Wimbledon 0, Doncaster 1, Wigan 0, Bolton 1, and and it finished Bradford 1, Cardiff City 2 in the top of the table clash, and that is your League One results. Your EFL guru will be back when he can get his arse in gear. But we will have to wait. It's like waiting for a London bus.
Yeah.
Never arrived. Right, League Two. Swindon 2, Salford City 3. Shrewsbury 1,
Depending on
depending
which
on
side of
what
the River
side
Severn you live.
you live on. Yeah. Harrogate Town 0. Oldham Athletic 2, Cheltenham Town 1. Grimsby Town 1, Barnet 0. Gillingham, or as my girlfriend says, Gillingham 3, Newport County 2, Fleetwood 1, Cambridge 2. A much needed result for our crew Alexandra as they got back to winning ways and beat Barrow 3-1. Get in, about time.
Yeah, I mean, I thought to you on final score, you know, you were, oh yes, Sam will be just, this will be like, yeah, just heaven for him. Port Vale
to stop
crew
the derailment of our playoff charge. Do you like that derailment, the railwaymen?
Yeah, I like it.
Crawley Town, way lost 2-1 at home to Knox County.
Yeah, and
Way
that's another
they can go down with the Vale as well. Bristol Rovers played at home but lost 1-0 to Colchester. It finished Accrington 0, MK Dons 2, Tranmere 1, Walsall 3, and Chesterfield 0, Bromley, top of the league, Bromley 0. And that concludes your League 2 scores. Well, I'm back now.
Yeah.
It's been a great show. As I've said, we will.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Lots of good talking points. Yeah.
We will do a transfer special on the 2nd of February. So, well, it'll come out probably in the week or the week after. So
exactly.
mark.
Journey to the transfer centre of the earth. That's what I'm going to be calling it.
Yeah, well, do mark your cards for that.
Yeah.
Anything else on the show or sorry, on the channel, Will, I should say, that you'd like to...
There's obviously 2016, and I said this last week, marks 10 years since a lot of people in the world of entertainment that we lost. So throughout this year, I'm going to be sort of paying tribute to the people who I didn't get to do on YouTube because I wasn't really on it 10 years ago. So I'm sort of making up for that, paying tribute to people like Sir Terry Wogan, David Bowie, Prince, you know, so many great, so many legendary figures that we lost. So yeah, I'm going to be continuing doing that, and of course continuing to do this show with you guys, and I absolutely love it with you guys. It's wonderful.
Not what you were saying 6 months ago.
Oh no, I do, because yeah, you're my partners in crime. I need someone to bounce off with.
We need someone to. We need someone to guide us, and it's definitely not you. But anyway, we have to guide him. That all sounds good, though. Well, yes, that's it for regarding what's coming up.
Yeah. Thank you for watching, guys, and see you next time.
Yeah, all that's left from me is to say thank you for watching. Please do, if you can, we know it's very busy, but if you can, like, comment, share, and subscribe to the TubeMix YouTube channel. And I'll highlight the word comment, because your comments on these shows that we do in particular will really help us moving forward. So please do, if you can. I know the time difference will be a little bit different because these are recorded, but when you can, just drop a comment, and we will go back and read through any comments we get. It's very much appreciated. Well, we have brought you all this without actually having kicked a ball.